You're live.
Hey,
We'll just wait here a little bit until Chet fills up. Wait for some chappers to come, huh? Don't look. Hey now.
When I don't know when, I never figure out when.
Okay, Daddy's gonna do something here.
Go
and play with your sisters. So, this is go and clean then. Go and finish up your cleaning. I just gotta do a brief message. So you need to continue cleaning and not be interrupting me.
These kids, they always trying to jump in when you're trying to do something. It's like a cat when you're in school and you're trying to do your homework. And the cat, he just always wants to lay right in the middle. And every time you write a dot or a tittle, he's reaching and he's clawing. Every time you flip a page, he's ripping them.
Every time you go away for a few minutes, everybody starts losing their mind. Welcome to the life of Dad. Welcome to the life of Dad. I ain't mad. Welcome to the life of Dad. I'm not sad. Welcome to the life of Dad. Welcome to the life of Dad. Well, I see that the chat is filling up. Oh no, it's not anybody in the chat. Actually, it's zero. So what this channel is, ladies and gents, is Pete Branscom's YouTube channel. Sorry. Ixnay on the Eater Pay Branscombe Bay. This is the Peter Branscombe channel. Okay? So if you're trying to find that other guy, if you're trying to find him, check out Peter Branscombe. Peter Branscombe. Check him out. You might find him eerily similar to one P. Branscombe. No, that's too obvious. Peter B. He's quite a bit like Peter B. I'm not him, but I'm like him. So what I'm doing here is just doing a live stream for no apparent reason, other than I want people to come to this channel because I'm going to start live streaming. Hey! There needs to be less noise. Ixnay on the oisnay. More orc way. This channel here is going to be where I'm going to do a lot of the live streams because the Peter Branscombe channel is under current suspension. I don't know when it's going to be lifted. It's been 2 weeks now, but still I'm unable to upload anything. I can't live stream. Can't do nothing. Feels like it's been longer than 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's been at least 2 weeks. Usually do it to me on a Friday. So I'm going to be talking about a little of this, a little of that. See, most people that came to my other channel probably came to it more based on biblical principles and understandings and, searching for truth in light of the Bible in this crazy world. And that's what this channel is going to be about too. But I'm going to do some other things too. I really want to do some things for the community of people that were, gathering together, because we are in a situation where people need to know people around them that they can trust, because we all know people in our close circle of friends, which now maybe is not so close anymore, that we once trusted, that we once, we're really close with, that now we've got this divide. And with some people, it's reconcilable, right? It's not completely over, but you're in this kind of relationship hiatus, this arrested development, where you're wanting to talk and start dealing with what's going on, and they are still currently not quite up to understanding that we are in a dire situation, right? Again, when the history books are written, they won't, the date that World War III started, we're going to be very much surprised when that date actually occurred. So we've been at war for a while, but we're just in a silent war right now. And they want to keep it silent, because if they can keep things silent, then there's no real resistance, because we can't just go out and, take things back by force, because that would be unlawful and that would not be received. It never is received. The only time something like that would be received will be if they had soldiers, that were literally, pulling people out of their houses and taking them away. And, if there was just some real, hard-handed stuff going on, but we're not seeing that right now. Everything's done under the color of law and by using word wizardry and just this, we're lying to you, but we're also telling you the truth, so we can't be held fully culpable of everything, and so on and so forth. So the buck just gets passed around and people make up their own rules. And so morality and objective morality is tossed out the window, and everybody's just making up rules as they go along, and everybody's justified in their own mind based on the decisions they're making in their current situation, but not looking at the grand scheme of things. They can't see the forest for the trees, right? They're willing to, sell out for the short term, for a short term that they really don't even necessarily have any investment in. They have a vision, whatever that thing was that was used to grab that person, that's what's used in order to suck them in, whether it was, to keep your job, right? Whether it was to get promoted in a job in the future, whether or not it was to travel for the job or just travel in general, whether it's to go to school or to be accepted amongst your peers or, or your work employees or, coworkers and so on and so forth, or to, advance your career in whatever field you're in, right? Maybe you had all these different reasons. You wanted to do what you thought was right so that we could all get out of this. It was our duty to do it. Whatever you believe you were doing, you wouldn't have made that decision on your own because it wasn't something you were looking for, a decision you were looking to make. So there's no choice when they give you two alternatives. Again, you didn't open up the door expecting there to be a person say right or left, and you're like, do I have to choose right or left, or can I think about this a little bit? Right or left? It's like, I think can I know what's in your right hand and what's in your left? No, you gotta trust us, right or left, honest. And it's like, I'd really like to see, what my options are. Okay, well, it's take this experimental shot that's never been tested and, live the rest of your life as basically a gamble if it doesn't kill you, or don't take it and not be allowed to buy or sell. I mean, you got two options. I choose neither. Neither of those options seem viable. Thank you, sir. So, as this situation gets more apparent, people are going to start waking up. Even the people that we've started to lose hope on and starting to doubt, they're going to start waking up. The only problem is that will some of these people be damaged or die from the jab, the double jab? Did they get 2 real jabs? Did they get full doses? Did they get placebos? Did they only get 1? Which ones did they get? What level of dose did they get? Have they got the booster? Do they have health problems going into it? There's all kinds of different things that go along with it. All kinds of things that go along with it. And like I say, some people are just completely sold out to it and aren't going to wake up. Some people are going to die not understanding what's going on. Some people are going to die mad, blaming everybody that didn't go along with it. Some people are going to understand, but it's going to be too late. Some people are going to, they kind of really stepped out there and took it. So if they're okay, then they might be your ticket into, still being able to get goods and services, right? So you got to think about this, people, that we're thinking about making communities of the unjabbed, but jabbed are going to also have their uses too, right? And they're also going to need your help. So as much as we're going to need jabbed people, they're going to need us too. I mean, when everything collapses, it's not going to matter anyways. But, I think there's always 100 different scenarios, right? And we start talking about one scenario, but then there's another 2 or 3 scenarios that can branch off from that, right? So whenever we sit and we discuss and we plan out all these things and we look ahead, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out exactly that way. Most of the reason why you plan is because you can almost guarantee you that it's not going to go that way. But somewheres along the way with planning, somewheres along the way with training, somewheres along the way with doing exercises, somewhere along the way with studying and so on and so forth, you are going to retain some of that knowledge. You are going to retain that muscle memory, right? It's inevitable. That's why, repetitive action creates a habit, right? A habit can be good, a habit can be bad, right? It's good to have good habits. It's bad to have bad habits. Some of us have many good habits. Some of us have many bad habits, or maybe a little this and a little that, or maybe we're just trying to shake some of those old bad habits that we had or have, right? Regardless, you got to have habits, right? Because a person's got to keep busy. And that, to me, if a person's not keeping busy, well, that's when you form bad habits. And when is the time in most people's life when they form those bad habits that stick with them for most of their life? Well, it's in your younger years, in your teenage years, right? When you're maybe not working, or when you're, focused on, going out with the boys and getting drunk and getting tail, right? Like those years of arrested development where you never just wasted so much time, effort, resources, and whatnot, right? But in hindsight, it's like, no, that obviously I'm a hard learner and I needed to learn everything the hard way, or else, I wouldn't be in the position I'm at today, right? And we can always say, well, if I would have just done right from the get-go, I would be in a lot better position. That's true, but I'd be in a different position, right? Or maybe I'd be in the exact same position. Maybe I'd be the exact same position I am here, but maybe with more, right? But at the same time, I don't really look at that as the case either, because I've looked at most of my life as being a thing where once I understood what was necessary to be done or what was going to happen in the future, I knew that I was going to have to start exiting out of the world, right? And whether that's exiting out of sin and repenting and turning away from sin, but also just turning away from those things of the world that would get you kind of trapped in the world where you couldn't escape it come the time, right? Because like I've said for a long time on the other channel, it's like everybody's going to come to a point where they're going to have to make a decision. And if you've been making the wrong decision in that light for years, then, and you haven't been thinking about how to make the right decision, then it's going to be hard to make the proper decision when that time comes, right? You can say that, oh yeah, when the time comes, I'll be fine, right? But if you're not doing any preparation leading up to that, spiritual exercise per se, right? Mental fortitude, physical, right? Spiritual, then how, if you're not preparing against the day of anger, against the day of wrath, right? Against the day of deception, against the day of evil, then how will you be able to stand? If you're not putting on the whole armor of God and not proving that armor day in and day out, then when it comes time to battle, how are you going to prove that armor? You can't. You're not going to be able to wear it. You're going to faint. You're going to fall. So that's why this whole thing, it's not about how powerful you are, how much influence you have, how great of an individual you are, how powerful you are. Just wait. How powerful you are, how strong you are, how rich you are, how good looking you are, how good you speak. Okay? What God needs you to do, he will get from you one way or another. So if you start lining yourself up with his ways and what he would have you do, how you can serve him, then you can start to be led, right? Because a lot of times we try to lead ourselves into things. It's like Jacob. Jacob is the child of promise, but he obtained the blessing, right? The earthly blessing and everything very deceitfully. He's very conniving. He's very sneaky, right? Well, he wasn't the guy really that you would like. In general, I would like Esau more. But as Jacob got older, right, he did become a better man, right? He became a great man. But in his younger years, when he obtained the blessing, he was a jerk. He was crooked. He was conniving. He was deceitful. But in what basically he did kind of in an evil manner, God ended up turning out for good. Okay? And even though Jacob received the blessing from Isaac, Esau also received a blessing. Okay? And you can say God loved Jacob and hated Esau. Well, he didn't hate Esau, the man, right? He did, lose respect for him probably for giving up his birthright so easily. But again, that's earthly habitation. But the whole idea is that Esau also squandered his birthright. And then later on, when he wanted to get the blessing, well, it was too late. It was given to another, right? He should have been paying attention. And that's what a lot of us done. A lot of us have gone like Esau, right? Where we had the birthright, squandered it, prodigal son style, and then someone other comes and takes it up. And in this case, it's somebody that's conniving. And that's what's taking place in the world, right? Conniving Jacob has taken over. It's not the real Jacob, not the true Jacob, the child of promise. Because Jacob, right, he did it in the wrong way, okay? He tried it his way, and it wasn't, God was going to give him the blessing anyway, but he went about it in his manner, right? Just like we can go about things in our life in our own manner, and they don't turn out how we think they're going to be, right? Because it's not what God had led us to do. But then there could be things that we have nothing to do with, but somehow we just go with it, and then that thing that we had very little to do with ends up being the best thing for us. How is that? Why is that? It's because most of our life is based on happenstance, being at the right place at the right time, right? Being when God tells you to move, when he tells you to stay, right? When you have an opportunity, do you seize the opportunity or do you pull back, right? There's a time to be scared. There's a time to be brave. There's time for war. There's time for peace. There's time for love. There's time for hate. There's time to kill. There's a time to, lift up, right? And rejoice. So we got to understand that God has things that he wants to bless us in this life, but he wants us not to have our reward in this life. Okay? Because if we seek the rewards in this life, then we will receive those rewards, but will not see those future rewards because we obtain our rewards in this life. And so in the next life, we're not going to receive them because we sought which was temporary instead of what was afar off that we did not understand. We are seeking something that we don't quite fully understand, but yet we are committed to it. Well, you say, Peter, that's crazy. Is it? I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to see something afar off, right? And then you are working towards that goal. I mean, that's driven, if anything. And if anything, the other way, living in this present world where you only seek that which is temporary, that which will crumble, that which will fall apart, that which will turn to dust one day, that's short-sighted. That is what's weak. Anyways, I'm going to end this right now. This is Peter Branscombe, partnered with Peter Branscombe. Come over and subscribe. I'll be doing more live streams and we'll be talking about more stuff. I want to talk about fitness. I want to talk about just physical fitness, mental, spiritual, stuff like that, not new age stuff. Biblically oriented, but not in a preachy manner. I just want to talk about these things with people. I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about sports and fight. Not really sports, but just, go. I want to talk about just different things that we need to talk about. Survival stuff. We need to talk about survival stuff, what we're going to be doing here. Right before it's too late. We need to be getting knowledge. We need to be getting understanding. Because listen, when all else fails, if things go down, okay, if things go down, we're only going to have fuel, propane, very little electricity and all that most of the time, right? And some point in time, it's just going to plain run out and you're not going to be able to get it. So you need to understand the most primitive of primitive approaches of survival. And you need to be ready for that. Because it gets uncomfortable really quickly when you don't have any water. When you don't have any hot water. Okay? How many things you use water for? Think about this. You don't have it? It gets real uncomfortable real quick. You don't have any lights? Well, guess what? In the morning, you ain't doing much. In the evening, you ain't doing much. Don't have any candles? Don't have any lamps? Lots of stuff to talk about, boys and girls. We're getting communities together, okay? We're talking communities. But another thing that we need to do is you need to get your own house in order. Don't start a community if you don't have your own house in order. Get your own house in order. If your house is in order, then you can lead others. If your house is not in order, then you're not going to be able to lead anybody. Okay? You need to get your own house in order so that others can follow your example. Peter Branscombe. Out.